We're Therapy Unlocked. We're here to unlock the mind, one conversation at a time. My name is Final Girl Energy, Final Girl M, and I'm here to yap at you with my qualified co-host.
Katrina Mondragon, my special counselor, licensed mental health counselor.
That's right. She's dual qualified. She's got double the qualifications to make up for my 0% qualifications. So here's what I want to yap about today, and that is parasocial relationships.
Oh, that's fun. Parasocial relationships have been around for a long time.
Yeah?
Even before influencers, yeah.
What's the first example of a parasocial relationship that you can think of?
A book. So like any book, any fictional character that somebody gets invested in, if you've ever gone along with that character to Narnia and worried about them and felt with them, that's a parasocial relationship. When you care about what happens to that character.
So that's a big buzz right now. That's a big buzzword right now because people have begun to understand that there can be some harm in a parasocial relationship because of, like social media influencers.
Maybe it would be helpful to define it, because all it is just a parasocial relationship is just not really knowing the person personally. So para meaning like you don't really know it, and social is social. Like you don't really know that person socially, but you're invested in them.
Yes. So like you said, that could be a book, that could be a TV show, that could be a band.
It could be the CEO at a Coldplay concert whose live we know nothing about. But if you're invested in that scandal.
Those of you who may not have heard, there was a Coldplay concert where a gentleman was projected onto the kiss cam with his lady friend. And,
turns out they shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, and they made it really obvious. If they just kissed, nobody would have ever known. If they just smooched each other, nobody would have ever known. But instead, they did a Three Stooges performance to indicate to the entire world that they were having an affair. And I believe lead singer was also like, "Oh, gee, you guys are having an affair, yeah." And
it was an unintentional thing, is my understanding. They just panned to them, and But yeah, so that would be an example of a parasocial relationship, being invested in somebody who have no knowledge of what their lives are actually like.
So celebrity gossip, that would be parasocial relationships.
People following along with Brad and Jen, what they were doing in the 90s all that time, that was a parasocial relationship.
Ooh, yeah. I remember.
Brad and Jen are not your friends.
I remember my mother seeming like she had a friendship with Rosie O'Donnell. Like when the Rosie O'Donnell show was coming on, that was like time they were hanging out, and they generally, that it really seemed like that. I was pretty young. I was Blue's Clues enjoyment age. But so that would be, those would all be parasocial relationships.
Another big one that people have a parasocial relationship, a lot of people, millions and millions, is that Joe Rogan guy. He has a podcast where he just does what we're doing. He sits around and talks all day, but he has a few more followers than we do. A few million.
For now.
For now.
At the moment.
All he does is sit there and talk and ask questions, and he's just a normal human being like the rest of us, but people for some reason are intrigued by his life and follow his life, and that parasocial relationship that can get to, like what you said, it can get to a point of unhealthiness when I think it gets to a point of unhealthiness when it interferes with your activities of daily living, your routines, your normal work routines or social relations, any of those things. If those are being interrupted, then you're maybe having a problem.
That makes sense. What comes to mind when you say Joe Rogan is how, as I myself, we're sitting here right now making content, as you said, and then I independently have my own, live stream channel and things along those lines. I want to cultivate a level of parasocial relationship.
Yes. So as content creators, we do want to have a bit of a parasocial relationship. I have a Minecraft and gaming channel. If anybody's interested in that. But yeah, it's not something that's necessarily a bad thing to have, but there are boundaries that matter. So like TikTok is not a dating app.
No. Thank you very much. That was some big sister mojo on that, because she knows my deep frustration with with TikTok daters, because the app swipes up and down, not left or right. Okay, grow up. That said, though, I recently noticed that there's now a category on TikTok Live for dating. There is.
Wow.
So I can now honestly say that I have to forgive people more any confusion they might have, because there is an entire live stream category for dating. That is how far we've gone into the parasocial rabbit hole, you know, in my opinion. Like, it seems wild to me that someone would use that to find their future, husband or wife or something along those lines. But
and
they are.
It goes to show just how disconnected we've come from actual humanity, because like we're sitting in a room here together, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't sit in the same rooms together with other people. And I wonder if that's where like those parasocial relationships come into play, because if you're sitting in a house alone by yourself, you're wanting to connect with someone or something. And that could be a person, that could be a character, that could be AI. I don't know.
I absolutely see that in the format of snark pages, for like, and snark pages are pages on, Discord or Reddit, where the entire page is dedicated to a certain influencer or a certain live streamer, usually family content even, which I'll get to in a second. But, and they post on those pages with, either insults or screen grabs or
so
things.
Snark is like a bad word.
Snark is like a bad word.
Okay.
Snark meaning
I'm
like
learning.
they're there to pick apart that person or their character or what have you. They kind of just want to laugh at them in a negative fashion, is generally like
That sounds
the connotation.
horrible. It sounds like a slam book for the new
There are
generation.
creators that have thousands of them, of these snark pages. And then of course there are TikTok tea pages, and Instagram tea pages, where they will screen record people's lives and post them. This has not ever happened to me, but I have been sent photos of myself from people having screenshotted them from my TikTok lives, that kind of thing. Overall, I find it kind of creepy, and always sort of have found it kind of creepy. At the same time, as a live creator, I'm aware of that when I went on there.
I think I would be creeped out at somebody else's expectation of me being present. Like, be happy that I'm here. Don't expect me to be here.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line.
So that's a thing too. I have absolutely had some difficult encounters since beginning live streaming with people who felt as though we had a relationship, and it was kind of a "why didn't you call me last night" energy, when all I did was not get on stream.
Why didn't you live stream?
Right, why didn't you live stream? And then they come back at me with kind of a why weren't you here for me kind of energy. And
and the reality, folks, is it's a job. Like,
well, and it is and it isn't even, because this is what I finally had to tell people. They don't pay me enough to be accountable to be here. Most of your online creators, and I will even include your big, huge online creators in that. Let me drop some names. Brooke Monk makes a ton of money.
who's that?
She's just an influencer. She's an online influencer. She makes, she does great. I've spoken to you before about Brianna LaPaglia, who has a podcast of her own, but she's largely an influencer. There's people out here that they're Kelsey. I can't remember her name, but it's like Keeping Up with Kelsey or Perfectly Kelsey, something like that. But they have these big pages, and what people don't seem to understand is the content that they make is a gamble for them as much as anything else.
Correct.
Right?
Because the more you put out there, the more your statistical probability of being liked are, as well as your statistical probability of being disliked.
Right. And also, the way that things are monetized on social media is very dependent upon viewership and engagement, etc. So in some of these cases of parasocial relationships, I see people who truly seem to hate the creator or the influencer create an entire page, an entire metaverse around that influencer, and I'll fall down that rabbit hole. I'll watch those videos. I'm not too good for that. But I watch them and I'll think to myself, you are making them a lot of money and you truly don't care for them. So you know, maybe you don't agree with the way they're raising their children, or you think they've caused someone harm, or I'm not speaking of
But
the
you're
three I
helping their
named earlier,
monetization.
but you're helping their monetization by driving traffic to their page, by driving more followers to their page. So with that in mind, what other drawbacks are there to developing a parasocial relationship that might, you know, let someone know, oh, this is starting to interfere in my life or their life?
I would think one's own mental health. So if one's own mental health is more negative than not, then that might be a warning sign. If one's own hygiene is struggling, like if you're not getting your showers in as much as you prefer, if you're not brushing your teeth the way that you ought to, like those kind of things matter. And if you're not doing it the way that you prefer, and I say that because not everybody showers every day.
Facts.
Not everybody washes their hair when they do shower. So like,
which I can work into this conversation as well. If you are watching a content creator and you are trying to figure out how often they change their clothes or took a shower, go touch grass.
right?
Go touch grass. Either you enjoy the content or you don't. Grow up. Come on. Come on. I think my biggest ick as a content creator and a live streamer is people who think they are my doctor and try to give me a new medical diagnosis, new advice on my diagnosis, etc., etc. Oh my gosh, go touch grass. Please, please, please.
I'm a professional. I'm not your professional. And nobody, even professionals, ought to be diagnosing anybody. That was like psychology 101. Don't diagnose your friends. Don't diagnose your family. And I'm going to go ahead and tack on, don't diagnose strangers on the internet.
Yeah. Don't diagnose strangers on the internet. That's so crazy pants to me. And I can say that because I'm the unqualified one. But that said, I'm judging. If you're going on there and you're talking about Gypsy Rose and what diagnosis you think she has, I'm judging because
she has a team. She has her own mental health professionals working with her, and that's her business. Like,
for
leave her alone.
For sure. But yeah, I think that there is such a rise for instances of secondary harm with parasocial relationships that I have to kind of wonder if we're doing enough to safeguard against that for, you know, like I'm a mom for my kids, because kid influencers are a thing now. Like, what would you recommend that we do to just kind of keep a healthy relationship with creators online?
Literally what we're doing right now. Talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. If we don't talk, if we don't trust, if we don't feel, then we are living by dysfunction. And that's not cool. So I say talk about it. Talk about it with your friends, talk about it with your family, and talk about what makes you feel ick. And because if there is something making you feel icky, don't engage with it.
Right.
And if there's something that makes you want to gravitate toward it, talk more about it.
Yeah.
What makes you gravitate toward it? What makes you drawn in? Why do you like that content creator so much that you wish that you could be on a video chat and have this conversation with us? Like, we don't know, but that could be something to explore. Just talking about it, I think, could be the answer.
I think that so many things are like that. When we say the story out loud, it doesn't become, you know, an issue anymore. It becomes something that we can find a solution for, you know.
Well, and I have a metaphor for that. So I'll shout out to my Auntie Sherry. She gave me a metaphor one time that says, like, you can have monsters under your bed and you can be scared of those monsters and cower under the covers. Or you can take those monsters out from under your bed, rip them out and organize them how you like and see fit. And then they have less power over you.
I like it. And personally, it probably liven up the room a little bit, honestly. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today on Therapy Unlocked, where we unlock the mind one conversation at a time. We hope to see you next time with new episodes releasing every Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Later.